3, 2, 1, go.
What's up, everybody? My name is Nick.
I'm Mike.
Indeed, we are the Brothers Murph. We're at you with a new top 10. This is a top 10 we've wanted to do for a while. We weren't sure exactly how to do it. So this is top 10 games to start your collection
The very
with.
first 10 games you should ever own.
Exactly. So people have done like top 10 essential games. Like these should be in everyone's collection.
Desert Island games.
Or like, our top 10 gateway games. And we want to do something like that. We want to do something a little bit different because having 10 gateway games is great, but you kind of want to be able to start to sink your teeth in some
you
stuff.
You want to give yourself some room to grow into your hobby.
Like once you play 4 or 5 hobby games, you can start moving up a little bit in that. And so we decided to do like top 10 games to start your collection.
Yeah.
Now this list, how did we kind of come, like what was the criteria for us in this list, Mikey?
So with this, what we wanted to do, rather than focus on like number 10 and number 1 is the number 1 game. It's like, no.
You must buy.
This is a curated list of games. This
Yeah.
is to be seen as a collection of 10 games. And so with that, we wanted to give games that sort of filled in gaps from other games.
Different themes, different mechanics, different
themes,
weights.
Mechanics, weights, things that are good for player counts. In general, with this list, just about everything can play well at 2-player and up. So that there's variability. Basically, we want to do this so that with this collection, you will have a game to play basically anytime, anywhere. That's the goal. We want to make sure that it's very easy for you to get into your hobby.
Yeah, exactly.
So that is sort of how we've
and
thought
easy
about
to
this.
bring other people into this.
Exactly, because
you know
once you're in, it's not enough. This is basically a cult. So anyway, this whole list it's not so much about 10, 9, 8. It's more about the list as a whole, the sum of its parts and things like that. So I think with that, we should jump right on into our number 10.
Let's do it.
Let's take a look at this list and see how you like it.
Let's do it.
So number 10, folks, is really good if you want to learn about the greatest mechanic of all time.
What
Talking about worker placement,
Worker
bro?
placement, indeed.
Worker placement. So we're not going to start you off with viticulture because that's a bit heavy. Now this game that we're talking about is a next level game, but it is an easy to grok for a worker placement game, and it's Raiders of the North Sea.
Indeed. This is a great intro to work placement. Again, we're not starting with viticulture.
We're going to start you
Some
off
people
with
say
this
viticulture is
concept.
like a gateway game, and I'm like, you are wine drunk.
Literally
you are wine drunk on a Tuesday in Milwaukee. But nonetheless, this is a great kind of intro worker placement game because this game, you put down a worker,
do the thing it says.
do the thing it says, pick up a different worker,
do that thing.
That's it. That's all you do.
That's it. Super simple.
And the game is laid out very, very well.
It's very nice. It's one of the best boards in the game because it's all symbols. And you put down a worker, it shows you the type of color worker that can go there.
Yeah.
And if you have that color, what you get. In some spaces, if it's a black, gray, or white worker, you get different things. But it's very clear what those things are.
If I put a white worker in the silversmith, I get 3 coins. Yay!
You get 2, actually. But you know what I mean? That's the point, is it's very easy. And it's just getting some resources. The whole bottom half of the board, where you're kind of in town, is about gaining resources, getting a crew, spending that money. And then you go up with those workers and you raid, where you put a worker down, that worker stays there, you fight, you get some victory points, that glory, and you get a new worker from that space to then use among town. You get different action spaces that are available to you. So it's kind of cool to see the game progress with those different color workers, but it's fairly simple. It's either you're going down getting resources or you're raiding. Once you raid, you kind of use your resources, go down, you gotta get more resources, so you can do another raid.
It's very intuitive in that way,
Yeah, and it's just has a very linear way that the game operates. You kind of end up at the big fortresses at the top, which will eventually signal the end of the game.
Yeah.
And it is,
I wouldn't say it's a gateway game. It is your next level game, something you can really sink your teeth into. But unlike a lot of worker placement games where you're given like a handful of workers, and then there's like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 places you can place them, and you're just like, I don't know where to start. I don't know what to do. This one's much simpler, much easier, but it's still next level, so you can really sink your teeth into it.
This won't be the first game in this collection that you'll play, but it will be a nice one to kind of work your way up to.
After you played a couple of them, you can give this one a shot. It's great. Raiders of the North Sea, it's so good. And it's got great art by Mihailo Dmitrievsky, who we love.
Yes.
It's just pretty. It's good.
It's just rad. That's why it's number 10 on our list.
Yeah.
So with that, let's go ahead and jump into number 9. What else we got?
Let's do it. Alrighty, number 9 is our filler, and you can see how fancy Mike is right now because this game is High Society.
I was trying to be high, actually.
Oh, you're like, oh man, what's that? This is High Society. You can be high and fancy at the same time.
Big, most of them are.
Exactly. This is High Society. This is a choice for like a filler game. What a filler game is like, say you played one game, you're about to play another bigger game, and you're like, you know what, let's have a little filler game. Something right in the middle, 10, 15, 20 minutes, quick, easy, light, fun. That's what this is. High Society is a game for 3 to 5 players, and it's an auction bidding game. So basically what it is you are fancy high socialites and you are making fancy lives in France. Yeah. And so there'll be something down on the board. Like you're gonna go get a new horse, you're gonna go to the perfumery. You're doing something very fancy.
You're gonna perfume your horse.
And one of those will be, all of those will have a certain amount of points, from like 2 up all the way up to 10 or so. Yeah. And then everyone has cards that have different money values, different franc values on like 10,000, 20,000, things like that. And essentially you're like, okay, for this, I'm bidding 20,000. And then it moves to Mike, and Mike has to either pass or bid more. And you just keep going around until one person wins. And then that person gets that and they turn in the money. But the catch with this one is by the end of the game, if you spend more money than anyone else, you have the least amount of money back in your hand, you automatically lose.
You out.
No ifs, ands, or buts. You're done. You spend all your money.
You done go.
And so you have to toe that line between getting the most points and not spending the most money. And that's a weird, fun line to toe in ultimately an incredibly simple, easy, light, quick game. Yeah. And it's the perfect little filler.
It just produces giggles.
It just makes people giggle. Oh, yes.
It gets fun to be like
Let's go down to the
haberdashery. And then kind of get into like a little bidding war back and forth, and then you get played because you're like, I didn't want that anyway. I just made you pay way too much money.
And it's about this big, so it fits in a pocket, fits in a purse.
Put it in a backpack.
It's so easy. You can take it anywhere. It's our go-to little filler. Yeah. Oh, we just love playing it so much. And it's super cheap too, which helps.
Beauty in its simplicity.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, that is High Society, folks. An oldie but a goodie. So with that, let's go ahead and jump into number 8. So here's the thing, folks. A good way to get started with games or to get new folks into a game is to find a mental link to something that is familiar. And with this, you can tie into the ideas that are presented with Sudoku, and it's also pretty to boot. It is Sagrada.
Sagrada, indeed, yeah.
Sagrada is a gorgeous game where you're making a stained glass window using very colorful dice that you draft.
Very pretty.
It's cool. It's got snake draft, which is a fun thing to introduce to people.
Indeed.
And the Sudoku tie-in is that you can't have the same thing right next to each other. You can't have the same color die, you can't have the same number. Yes. So you have to vary things. And so that's a fun way that I like to explain to people. It's kind of like Sudoku in that you can't have the same things right next to each other. Now Sudoku it's a little bit different, but it's a nice idea it's similar to that. And so for me, when I first played, it was very simple. Like, okay, kind of like Sudoku, okay, I just got to make sure blue doesn't touch blue, make sure 5s don't touch 5s.
Yeah.
Simple, okay, I got that.
Yeah.
And so orthogonally adjacent, basically they don't want to share a side. Diagonal's okay. And from there, you get to then work on solving your own little puzzle. And there's like a little kind of blueprint that you're trying to follow where certain spaces want to have a certain number, certain spaces want to have a certain color, certain spaces can be anything.
Whatever
you got to fill it in strategically so that you don't mix the same colors next to each other or the same numbers. Yeah. And it gives you a couple little tools you can use or not use and save them for points, the stuff you'd have to spend for points. And so it's just a really cool, familiar but different thing.
Yeah, and it's nice because they sell it at Target now, and like you always say, it's like the perfect thing to be at Target because it's a real actual game. It's not some crappy mass market thing.
Right.
And then on top of that, it's accessible. It's pretty. It's still pretty light. Like I would consider it like a gateway game where pretty much anyone can learn it. Yep. But you can get that foothold in. Like Sudoku, you know how to play Sudoku, or at least you know the idea. This is similar to that. Yeah, and it's just like having that foothold is just the door's cracked, and that is so nice when a game does that.
Yeah.
And this is it fires on so many cylinders. It's light, it's easy, it's fun, it's pretty, it's just great. It plays great all player counts. There's like a really great solo variant just in case you want to play on your own. It's just Sagrada's awesome.
Sagrada is just a beautiful game, and again, I love that it's a Target because it gets eyeballs on board games, because it's really cool looking. So do check out Sagrada if you haven't. It's been around for a little while now. People tend to really like it. It's a fun little puzzle that doesn't bog itself down with too much. It just keeps itself simple. And then if you want, you can then start adding in some of the expansion stuff if you get to that point.
Yeah, exactly.
But the base game is a really nice, easy level of entry.
Yeah.
And that's why it's number 8 for us. So let's go ahead and jump into our number 7 game, Chia Boy.
Our number 7 is another one of those kind of next level games, and this has been the hottest game of 2019. That is Wingspan.
Yo.
Now, we picked Wingspan for a number of different reasons. One, we just really like the game Wingspan, but two is because we wanted to pick a game that's an engine builder. An engine builder is where you are building an engine, usually of cards. In this game, it is also cards. Bird cards, and those cards have different actions that you keep getting to activate over and over, and it builds your engine. Like, oh, this card gives me food. Okay, this card allows me to lay eggs. This card allows me to do this, and you start building this cool engine. But then on top of that, we wanted it because it's got a cool, interesting theme. It's about birds and bird watching, which is just different, and a lot of people go like, oh, that's interesting. And like, I played it this weekend because someone was 100% only interested in the theme, and they ended up loving the game on top of that.
That's awesome.
But having different themes is important to, one, keep your gaming fresh for you, and then also to get new people in. But then this is just a really great, ultimately pretty simple engine builder that you can teach to people who, I'd still say it's a next level game.
Yeah.
But it's not that much higher next level.
Yeah, it's something that you can get into fairly early on. Again, it's not going to be the first game in this collection that you play, but you could get into it
could be third.
quickly.
Yeah, I mean,
you know, because when it comes down to it, there's only 4 actions in the game.
That's it.
There's just 4 things you do.
Exactly.
And then you activate the cards, and the cards just tell you right there what they do.
Yeah, and there's like 150 different cards, which are all, I mean, the cards sometimes have the same action, but they're all different birds. It's just
Super
it's
cool.
Gorgeous, gorgeous art.
Yeah.
It's just such a cool, fun game that just
You
has
feel
great table
accomplished
presence.
when
Yes.
you play it because you get to put a few cards out maybe in the forest, and now all of a sudden every time you do the forest action, you get a lot more food than you used to.
Exactly.
And you get to activate these things, and all of a sudden you're putting a bunch of eggs out.
Yeah.
So you feel
It's
like
very
you're doing
satisfying.
stuff.
Yeah.
It's very satisfying.
And it's great. We do think it's good for a beginner collection because of the fact that it's got a ton of strategy, because there's tons of different stuff you can do.
Yep.
And then on top of that, but it's easy enough where if you are newer or you're playing with people who are newer, you can totally get them into it probably pretty quickly. And it's just a really wonderful game.
just
You know,
ace.
we wanted some kind of engine builder. Luckily, there are a number of decent kind of lighter engine builders, and we decided to go with this one because it's got a little bit more meat on its bones, or meat on its wings, I suppose. But
Meat
nonetheless,
them wings.
that's our number 7, which is Wingspan. Really, really great game. Try it if you haven't. It should just be in everyone's starter collection.
It's real good. That's why it's in ours, folks.
Indeed. But let's go ahead and get into our number 6.
Yeah. So number 6 is for when you have a group of friends over for your first ever board game night party.
Party!
It's a party game, it's a social deduction game, and it is called Detective Club.
Indeed, Detective Club.
Detective Club is a game where you're playing out these really cool, weird cards that have just odd art on them that is very well done. But it's just all over the place. It's just, you'll see a cactus sheriff who's riding a pillow, literally a card.
Really trippy, weird art.
Everything's just really weird. It's kind of like as if you were in a dream.
Yeah.
And so the cool thing is that you have a social deduction element where you have someone who's sort of the investigator for the turn, and they'll write a clue on all but one pad of paper.
Yes.
Then they shuffle those up. They distribute all of those pads of paper.
So everyone has a pad of paper, but one person has nothing on
has
it.
no clue what's going on. So then the investigator will start by playing a card. Now this card ideally will pertain to the clue.
So the clue might be like tea, you know, and then somewhere in the card there's like a little rabbit holding the teacup.
Yeah.
So it goes like, oh, tea.
So that's tea. Now if you're a detective, you know the clue. You're going to play a card that hopefully makes it very clear that, like, I know what the clue is.
I know what it is.
I'm not going to be too obvious for the person that doesn't belong, but like I'm in the know.
Yeah, exactly. So then you might put something on that has a big letter T on it or something like that. So everyone goes, I look at Mike's card, I'm like, oh, he knows what it is because he put T on there. But then if you're the one person who doesn't know the clue, you then are looking at everyone else's cards trying to figure out what the pattern is. But then again, the cards you have a bunch of weird stuff on it. You have a limited amount of cards. Sometimes you literally don't have a card that works. Even if you know the clue, you're like,
this just looks
nothing
bad.
in my hand relates to T in any form. How can I make this work? And it's really, really fun. And then it gets back to the main detective person, and they put out a second card. Then everyone puts out a second card. And then the detective person says, the clue was T. So everyone, including the person who did not know the clue originally, now gets to hear the clue. And then everyone has to justify their cards.
You go around the table.
Okay, everybody. I put this one down because this tree kind of looks like a T. I didn't have many cards, but this is all like
Tree and T,
tree and T. It looks like a T. So the good thing is as the person who doesn't know what the clue was, you can now BS your way into it, and then people all decide on who they think the odd person out is, and it is so much fun. It plays, I believe, 3 to 8 people, and the more people, the better.
Something like that. Yeah,
yeah.
If you want a big group.
So much fun.
It's just fun to hear people's explanations to like why their card works, because people that are innocent will look guilty, and people that are guilty can hide pretty well.
Yeah.
Depending on those cards, because those cards are weird.
Yeah,
Sometimes
they
you're
are
like,
weird.
that doesn't make sense. You're like, I know, but it's the best I had. Oh, sure it is,
Oh,
buddy.
sure it was.
Sure, it was the best you had.
And there are these kinds of games where they have like weird art. You're trying to like all come on the same page, and this is by far our favorite one because it just is so much fun, and it's a perfect kind of party game if you got a lot of people
gets you
over.
laughing, gets you talking.
Super easy. There's not really much to explain in the game,
You
and
can
it's
just play it casually and
you
just
can
like
just
not
go
keep
around
score
until
if
you
you
feel like
wanted.
stopping.
Yeah. Super duper fun. That is Detective Club. Detective Club is our number 6,
Indeed.
folks. With that, let's jump into number 5.
Let's do it. All right, our number 5 is going to be our kind of choice as a co-op, but even then, this is a little bit different because there's multiple ways to play this game,
It's variable.
and that is Stop Thief. Stop Thief has kind of been our go-to co-op. Now, we're not just choosing this game because we're in it, which we are, but that's not why we're choosing it, although we are in it, it's cool. But nonetheless, Stop Thief is a really, really great game where there is a map, a board, that it's a map of kind of a city. There's a bunch of different little spices, a bunch of numbered spaces on it. And the game...
There's a bunch of numbered spices.
There's a bunch of numbered spices on it. And the game is run by an app. And so the game is run by an app, and essentially there is a group of thieves running around trying to steal stuff from these different spots on the board, which is super interesting. And then you are then going around in the co-op version, and you're trying to find them. But how do you find them when you don't know where they are? Well, the app is constantly giving you audio clues. So the different spots on the board, they can either be inside, going through a door, going through a window, or outside, or on the subway. So if they're indoors, you'll hear
like echoing footsteps on a,
Yeah, you hear indoor walking. If they're on a door space, they go, if they're on a window, it goes, psh. So you hear them go walking indoor. You're like, okay, the last one was a door spot. This is a door spot. And so you're like, okay, so where's a spot
door to door
that they can go directly from door to door? And so you then work together to suss out where they are. And then if you think they are in a spot, you can try to arrest the group. If you arrest the group successfully, one of the group members comes out, and then the rest runs away, and then they run away from you again, and then you have to find them again. And it is such a fun co-op game. But the cool thing about this game is you can play competitively.
Yeah.
You can play it where the robbers run around, and you're all trying to find them on your own. You can play it where one of you is the robber, and you're rolling around the board alone, and everyone else is trying to find you. It's just, there's all these different ways, but the co-op way is just, to us, by far the best way to play it.
It's awesome. It's kind of our go-to co-op game now. It's the one that we like to play because it's cool. I love the app and the technology it provides.
Yeah, it's just cool to have the audio clues and stuff. Oh.
It's just super fun, and then there's a lot of variety. It's perfect for a family because you can play cooperatively with kids, and then just like kind of work together the riddle. You can play competitively if you want. The one versus all is something that seems super duper cool.
Yeah.
If you want that experience, so it's just kind of got a lot of different things it can do, but it always comes down to the fun of trying to solve the riddle of like, where are these criminals?
Yeah.
It's just an awesome, fun time. That's one that's like, I'd want that to be part of my list to start because it's just a good time.
Yeah,
Like it's going to make you have a fun experience that leaves you smiling, hopefully. So you hopefully come back and play some more games.
And it's just
That's
a
the
cool
idea, right?
integration with technology. It's just awesome. But nonetheless, that's our number 5, Stop Thief. It's kind of our co-op, but also kind of not option of this list. But mostly we play
that
co-op.
co-op.
Yeah,
That's
play it
so
co-op.
fun.
Let's go ahead and get into our number 4.
Yeah. Number 4 is some push your luck madness in the form of Quacks of Quedlinburg.
The Quacks of
The Quacks of Quedlinburg.
The Quacks of Quedlinburg.
This is a game that's a little bit next level just because you got to explain the powers, but it's just a simple press your luck game ultimately. Now, the reason this makes our list is like, This game creates big moments.
It just goes down smooth.
Where you're just like holding out and you got a little rally going where you haven't pulled many white and you see how many of these powers you can go. And usually everyone at some point in the game is going to have a really good turn.
Yes.
And it creates these moments of like you get to the end and then you bust and you're like, oh, like I needed to survive, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's just a game that I always have fun playing. The first time I played it, I was just like, that's some of the most fun I've ever had.
Yeah.
You know, and that was super exciting. And every group we played this with, it's gone over.
It just goes down
so
smooth, yeah.
well. It's gone over very smooth. People really enjoy themselves. And the powers of the chips and stuff, you're pulling these chips from a bag, you're kind of making a potion or something like that.
Cauldron potion
Make a
thing.
big cauldron, stirring up a cauldron, hoping that it doesn't explode, because there's certain chips that'll make your cauldron explode if enough of them come out. So you're trying to get these other chips that have powers.
Yes.
And the cool thing is that there's a lot of variety of what those powers could be. A mushroom might not always do the same thing from game to game, so there's a lot to explore there.
Yes.
And you can kind of start off with the suggested first versions of all the
makeup of all
potions
the-
that
yeah.
are a little bit more straightforward and simple. And then once you get used to that, you can try version 2. And
they just start randomizing it.
and then randomizes. There's actually a lot of variety within that game, but it keeps the idea of what you're doing is the same every time, is pulling those chips from a bag as long as you want, choosing to stop, choosing to press your luck, hoping you don't blow up. And the cool thing about Quacks at Quedlinburg is it's a fairly forgiving game.
Yes.
If you blow up, it's not the end of the world.
No.
Especially
not
early,
the first
early
half of the
game,
game,
it's like,
yeah.
oh, who cares?
Whatever,
Like, you don't
who
get the
cares?
victory points. Okay, I didn't get 3 victory points, but I get the money. Fine. You know, if you do get the furthest hit, get your roll a little die, and you get like a little bit of a benefit. You know, it doesn't punish you.
No.
And that's really important, I think, early on. I think I like games that punish you. I'm glad they exist, but I want you to seek them out.
Yes.
I don't want them thrust upon me.
Yes.
So I like this game because it's just like, it doesn't punish you for playing. It's just going to be fun.
It's just fun.
It's
It's just
supposed
what
to be
it
a light,
is.
silly game, and it is a light, silly game.
Yeah, it's just so good. Like we said, I've never had this game go bad. And I'm sure there's people out there who are like, I hate that game. But everyone likes it for the most part. I mean, I haven't had anyone come across who just didn't enjoy it. It's just so much fun. And you're pulling stuff out of a bag, trying to not pull those white chips, which cause your cauldron to explode. And that's it. And then you're just like, I have 5 chips in here. I know 2 of them are white. Do I do it? Do I do it? And you always do it and always fails. And this is a game where, like, when your cauldron does blow, a lot of these push your luck games, when you fail, you just feel angry and upset. And this one, it just, I don't know, for whatever reason, it just doesn't hurt as much when you fail. And it's so good. And this is a game that just, if people are new to gaming, they're just like, whoa, I've never played a game like this before.
Cool.
And it's just like, it's just so different than your typical like board game where you're moving around a board. You know, it's just like, it's so different. Oh, it's just Quacks Quedlinburg. It's so good.
It's ace, folks, and that's why it's our number 4. Super fun, semi-next level game.
Yeah,
but
even
pretty
then, not
dang
too bad.
accessible.
Yeah, none of the games are that next level. Yeah.
No, but it's on the way to next level.
Yeah.
So that's our number 4. With that, let's go ahead and jump into number 3.
Number 3 is going to be our roll and write entry,
Gotta have
or
a roll
a
and
flip
write.
and fill, technically what this is, and that is going to be Cartographers.
Really for our cartographer.
Weird reference, Mike. Nonetheless, Cartographers, though, is a great roll and write game, and this is a game where you are cartographers and you're building out the map. Every person has their own sheet, and it's a blank map, and there are different cards coming up that have different landscapes on them. It could be like villages, you find forests, farms, different stuff, and you're filling in your map. Each person has the same stuff to choose from, but where you place it is 100% up to you. And so your maps end up looking totally differently. What's nice about this game is it's pretty easy to explain, but for roll and write, it's definitely got some meat on its bones. But one thing that's nice about this game is you can play this with literally an infinite amount of people.
Yep.
Because everyone, you flip over a card, everyone writes what's on their sheet.
So you
So
can
as
see the
long
card,
as
you can play.
everyone has a sheet and you can see the card, you're set. And so we play this game, we live stream on Twitch, and we play this game on Twitch all the time, and people at home will play with dozens of people at a time because they just print out a sheet at home, we show the cards on our live stream, and then they can just play along with us.
Yep.
And it's really, really fun. And it's got these kind of Tetris-looking shapes on it, so you're filling in your board And you're filling in those kind of Tetris-y shapes, and it's just a very satisfying feeling, being like, ooh, this fits perfectly right in here. Oh, that's so nice. It's just, and those scoring opportunities are different every game, so every game is different in terms of the way you score. And it's just, oh, it's so good.
Yeah, and the cool thing is because they have those different scoring opportunities and the scoring style is interesting, you can kind of cherry pick the cards that are scoring if you want to keep it a little simpler.
Which I do if I'm playing with a new people.
Yeah, because some of them can get complicated, but again, room to grow.
Exactly.
So that's what I like about it is that you can kind of start off a little more straightforward and simple and just be like, in this one, you kind of really want to fill in your map and not leave gaps. Cool, can do that.
Cool.
I like the little stitches of monsters. My guess is like, I would suggest if you're playing with family and didn't want to deal with it, you could take the monsters out.
You could just
keep it a little nicer and more simple.
Because the monsters force you to pass your map to the next person, and then they get to draw on the monster, which
isn't
is bad.
A heavy concept, but like if you were playing with family, you didn't want to do the mean thing, you could get rid of it.
Totally.
You know, there's different ways you could. Again, variety is nice. You can play this game by yourself if you want, and sort of beat your own score.
Yeah.
Cartographers is just a fantastic roll and write, flip and fill, however you want to reference it. Game that you could play with a bunch of people or just by yourself.
Yeah.
It's really, everything works, which is nice.
It's great.
And that's why it's our number 3. It's a good piece of the of your gaming collection. You want to roll it all out. It's fun to be able to draw and and kind of get into that.
Yeah.
That's a cool thing. That's new-ish in our hobby or a big thing that's been happening lately, which is cool. So that's why it's our number 3. And with that, I think we're going to jump into number 2.
Let's do it.
So number 2 must be from Praise Be.
It's like from Praise Be.
Phil Walker Harding.
Praise Be, Phil Walker Harding, our Lord and Savior.
Phil Walker Harding was put on this planet to make games, to start people's collections. I promise you that
This game,
true.
literally, we could have picked, we literally like, which Phil Walker Harding game we're going to pick? It's
Because
literally a conversation we had.
The one that won out the day is Baron Park. But really, any Phil Walker Harding Praise Be game is perfect to start your collection.
And the reason we chose Baron Park was the same, it has a similar concept with Cartographers, and it's the same thing as Sagrada with the Sudoku. It's got a way in, and that is the Tetris-like pieces.
Yes. Finding ways to make weird shaped things fit into a confined area is a fun thing that we can. It's easy to understand how it's supposed to work. Not everyone is great at spatial puzzles, but it's easy to understand, like, this thing can't hang off the edge of your board. Okay, I will know if it's hanging off the edge of the board. I will know that. Hopefully, right? So it's an easy concept of like, make sure these fit in your board. You ideally want to fill out your entire board. And basically, when you're putting pieces down, you're going to be covering up icons that are printed on your little pieces of your zoo. You're building a bear park, a bear zoo. And based on whatever you cover up, those are tiles you're going to get into your little pool for future turns.
Yes.
So you'll put stuff up, hopefully cover things to get a new tile for the next turn, and on you go. I love the game because it's just simple. Every time I play this, I'm like,
it's a great end of the night. You don't want to think too hard, but you do want to like engage your brain. You just have to sit there and just kind of, it's so free and casual. It's just so nice.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And basically, once someone fills out all 4 of the parts of their park, the game will end. And there's certain tiles that'll give you points. And at the end of the game, you just look at all of the things that have numbers on them in your park, get those points, and you're done. It's nice and simple. And I just like it because it's fun to try to like get slick pieces and like sort of fill it in a way that gets you
satisfaction of that.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a race for like the animal houses because the first like golden bear animal house is a square shape, is going to be worth more points than the one beneath it and the one beneath that. So you kind of want to get there first. So there's a little bit of a racing element. Ooh, that's fun. Or I want to get a crane covered up so I can get this really weird piece that's only one of them that's that shape and it's a perfect shape for my park. I want to get that piece before anyone else can. Plus, it's worth points. The cool thing is there's objectives you can add. You can add special objectives, of which you'll have 3 in a game, and everyone can earn that. Again, if you're the first one to get an objective complete, you get more points.
Of course.
Or if it's your first game, don't play with those. They say, do not play with those if it's your first game. And then room to grow.
Yeah.
So Baron Park is just fantastic because it's just kind of a fun, pleasant game that goes down easily. It's a little bit of a puzzle, but it's not brutal in any way. It's just a pleasant experience, and I mean that in the best way. And that kind of happy smile I have is exactly what I want when I play Baron Park, and it delivers that feeling for me perfectly, where it's just kind of it just makes me feel zen and happy.
Yeah.
You know, so that's why we love it so much. A lot of other Phil Walker Harding games fit right into this category of like really good for new to game gamers.
Yeah.
Phil Walker Harding knows how to make those games so well.
That's what he does.
And Barron Park is a particularly good one for us. We
Yeah,
really
it's
like it.
really outstanding. Barron Parker's our number 2. It just fits that Tetris-y, satisfying, chill game. It's just so good. That's our number 2, but let's go ahead and get into our number 1. Alrighty, we're here to our number 1, and this to me is the gateway game.
War of the Ring.
War of the Ring, Lord of the Rings in a box, calling it. No, this is to us, I think, our, like, if I had to pick one gateway game for the rest of my life, it would be Carcassonne.
It's France in a box.
It's France in a box. And sure, this isn't the most flashy game out there. It's not the crazy prettiest game ever. But there's a reason why this game has been as big as it has been. There's a reason why this game is still around. And that is because for new gamers, even for old gamers like us, it's just so fun. And it's so different. This is something we always come back to. It's like if you're playing a lot of these games, you still are on a board, moving stuff around a board, doing stuff that's very familiar. But this game is a tile laying game. So the game starts as one tile.
That's the entire board.
That's the whole thing.
That's
and
all
then
you got.
you are then putting out tiles and then claiming different roads and claiming different cities. And the cool thing is the tiles are all shuffled. So every single game, the world that you end up building will look completely different than every other one. And so it's such an interesting concept to new gamers because that's something they've never seen before. This board that like grows and you're claiming stuff.
You're looking at it.
You're looking at it. And
you
it's
gotta build it.
It's so satisfying to play, to have it grow, to build this really long road that you're claiming you're gonna get all these points for, to have this massive city that you feel like there's no way you're ever gonna complete. And on the last tile, you grab the perfect one to complete it, or you don't, and you just feel the despair and shame. But nonetheless, I always thought this was like, oh, this game's all right. You know, I like it a lot, but like, it's not incredible. My favorite gateway game. And then I worked for a long time, and I would at a rehab, and I would teach a lot of my clients board games. And I pulled out Carcassonne 2 or 3 times as much as any other game because it was by far the best gateway game we had. And it's just as a starter collection, having something like a Carcassonne, and there's other things you can put in here, Ticket to Rides, all these other well-known gateway games, you gotta have one of those. And Carcassonne is just the one for us.
Absolutely. It's incredible. Like, we still have it. I play it a lot.
Yeah.
I love it. And it's just easy because everyone can understand it.
Yeah.
Make the land make sense.
Yes.
That's all you have to worry about.
You can't have a road going to the middle of a city. It makes no sense.
That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Have city touch city, grass touch grass, road touch road. And it's like, that is, everyone can understand that concept, which is fantastic. And then put a meeple down.
Trust me.
And then what I
if I can get detoxing people who are detoxing off of heroin to understand it, everyone can understand
everyone
it.
can understand this, you know what I mean? Because it's just logical. And that is really nice.
Yes.
And that you don't have to think in the abstract at all.
No. Yeah.
It's just what's in front of you. Make this piece of you fit into the puzzle.
Yeah. Wherever you want.
You're like, oh, okay, cool. And then I like that there's a little bit of management with those meeples that you put out because you can put them on a road that goes and never ends, but eventually you might want that meeple back so you can put it on something else and start working on something else. So there's a little bit of like the idea of hand management, but it's a sneaky, easy way to kind of hint at worlds yet unknown.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just super duper fun. It's satisfying. It's pretty. It's cool. And it plays 2 to 5, and it plays great from 2 to 5. Like, it really does work awesome.
It's just good.
Carcassonne is like the definitive gateway game for a reason. Like, it is just the best
one. Us, yeah.
So it has to be part of your collection.
Yeah.
But that is just one type of curated collection.
Yes.
What did we miss? If you were to create your 10 first games, or even better, what were the first 10 games you bought? Put lists of those down below.
Those are the first 10 we bought. We're not ideal.
We're not ideal. That we learned by going in way too hard, way too fast.
Yeah.
And we had games that for years were like, we're not ready for this. And then now we are.
Yeah.
But we were a little bit ahead of our time. So put in the comments games that you would recommend you start with, whether or not that's gateway, next level, it hits a certain theme, whatever reason, curate your own list and send them to us.
Put it in the comments, yes,
Put
please.
them in the comments below. Give this video a thumbs up, and likely we will do more of these.
Hopefully, because it's a tough list to make.
It's so hard because...
There's
like
so
you
many
mentioned,
games.
Ticket to Ride. Like, of course, Ticket to Ride should be on this list.
It's got set
So,
collection, route
yeah.
building, all these different things, and we're like, no, you know.
So really, we could do and probably should do is several different curated.
Yes.
Like these could be your first 10s, and then you can kind of choose your favorite of the different curated lists. So
Yes.
again, this is just our opinions for now. In the moment, we'll probably do another one of these because there's a lot more Phil Walker Harding games out there. Just saying.
Whole list. Yeah.
What did you think of our list, folks? Put those down in the comments below. Give this video a share, especially if you know anyone who's looking to get into the hobby.
Yes.
Maybe wants some more information about games that are good to start with, family weight games. Send them our way. We're happy to help with any suggestions on top of the ones that you give to your friends. Thank you for always being good ambassadors of the hobby. And if you're new to the hobby, welcome to this hobby.
Hi.
Do come on down and say hello. We are the Brothers Murph. We're happy to have you here.
Make sure to give us a subscription while you're down there. We want to give a special shout out to all of our patrons on Patreon who make just our lives possible. The fact that we're able to do this is so amazing. You see them scroll past right now. Y'all are just the best. And if you like what we do and you want to support us, Patreon is a great way to do that. So thank you so much to our patrons. You are just the greatest people.
Thanks. Shouts out to Team Bing Bong down there.
That's right.
And we love you all. We'll see you in the next top 10. If you have any suggestions for top 10s you want to see us do, put those also in the comments below, and we'll be sure to try to get after those sometime soon.
That's right.
All right, folks. Until next time, I've been Mike.
I'm Nick.
We're the Brothers Murph, and we is out of here.
Bye.
Bye.